And that's what ETFs are, right? So
Okay.
ETFs are a basket of securities that is put together in a way that gives you diversification, that can trade just like a share on an exchange.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you are listening to this on a podcast, welcome to the Lifestyle Plus podcast. I have changed the name of this podcast in order for it to be more in line with what I hope to achieve in this channel. So today I am talking about EFTs, so exchange traded funds. So if you guys know anything, I am a cryptocurrency reporter, and I've been doing crypto for about 4 years now. And I'm very keen to learn more about how crypto works, like the blockchain, the Ethereum networks, all of that kind of thing. So today I'm interviewing Dan Annan. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Cosmos Asset Management in Sydney. And he has extensive experience in the local and global funds management industry, with over 15 years dedicated to exchange traded funds. So to put a long story short, exchange traded funds, I didn't know, like even as a crypto journalist, I didn't even know what that was. It's going to sound crazy, but I didn't. So I'm going to learn all about exchange traded funds today with Dan. And we are going to take you through what exactly they are and how these will help you in your crypto and stock investment journey. So this is going to be broken up into approximately 3 to 5 episodes because it's impossible to cover everything at once. It's just crazy. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Dan. So quickly talk us through so who you are and what you do, because you told me that you're from Sydney, Australia, but however, I'm assuming you're from elsewhere before this.
Did the accent give it away?
Yeah.
No, I'm not from Sydney, Australia, but I now live in Sydney, Australia. I've been here 5.5 years now. Came here, by way of New York. Lived in San Fran for over 10 years, where I actually started my ETF career.
Okay.
Out of San Fran, one of the large fund managers dealing in ETFs, BlackRock. And then
I've heard of BlackRock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then moved to Australia, and really, the Australian market has been really interesting to sort of watch, because when I walked in the door in Australia, ETFs were just sitting around 25 billion in FUM, right? And I don't think, while the market were aware of it, I don't think it was widely being adopted as it is today. And so today, we're looking at a market cap of about 132 billion or so. So, I would say fivefold growth since coming here 5 years ago. But so who am I? I've spent quite a bit of time in the ETF space, working with retail investors, working with institutional investors, on the educational path and the growth path of ETFs. And I joined Cosmos Asset Management, which is a digital currency fund management, funds management business. And really, our goal has been to look at the evolution that's happening in the cryptocurrency space, and how can we design and deliver a product, or financial product, which is what the ETF is, for investors.
Okay.
So, Cosmos Asset Management's mission really is to focus on what's happening in this emerging asset class, digital currency, and create vehicles, mainly in the ETF space, to allow investors to gain access to those exposures.
Yeah.
Let's break that down so that we just go ahead.
Yeah. So what exactly are exchange traded funds?
Yeah, so it's exactly the word exchange traded fund. It's exactly what it is. So exchange, just as in the Australian exchanges that allows you to trade shares. So that's an exchange. Traded, meaning you have the ability to trade, buy and sell intraday. So anytime during the day, during the trading hours of the market. So in Australia, you have, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. approximately,
Yep.
you can buy and sell shares. So intraday, you're trading shares. Fund.
Okay.
The fund bit is essentially allowing you to pool assets together,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you pool, individuals are able to come together, get a pooled assets together to go and acquire the underlying stocks, but in a single trade,
Okay. So
right? So
then,
that's,
sorry.
go ahead.
Just say a person wants to trade on the Australian market. Why do they need electronic trades?
Exchange. We just went there. Let's start again.
I got tongue twisted. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's just say ETFs.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, it's not so much about why do they need the ETFs, but it's what is it that they're trying to achieve.
Right.
Okay. So, for instance, if an investor wanted to go buy, let's say CBA, one of the banks in Australia, right? They can go out and then do that, right? If they wanted to, trade Afterpay, they can go and do that.
Okay.
Now, if they wanted to go out and buy, or let's say if they wanted to own Australia, they wanted to go out and buy all the companies that are listed in Australia. Now, an institution can easily do that, right? Because they have the capital, and they can go and basically, and I take just a step back a little bit. They can go out and let's say assemble the DNA of how an index provider. An index is basically someone that basically says this is the benchmark that what an Australian, the Australian market should look like, just for simplicity.
Okay.
And in that benchmark, there are specific rules for that benchmark on how a security is weighted in that index. So let's say, for instance, you had 10 names in the index, right? There are specific rules of, each company is going to have a different market value. And there are specific rules in how you weight those 10 different companies in that basket of 10.
Okay.
So there are those rules, right? But in a nutshell, an institution, if they wanted to own the Australian companies, they can literally just go out and buy those names because they have the capital to do so.
Okay.
You and I, if we wanted to go out and buy all the companies in Australia, right? We wouldn't have the capital to go and buy every single stock. Or maybe you do. I don't know. I wouldn't.
I would not be sitting here if I did.
All right. But what an ETF will do is it fractionalizes that exposure in a single trade, whereby you and I can actually put one trade on to own all those companies. And that's because there's been pool of assets at the institutional level that's gone out and created the underlying basket and then wrapped it in a fund so that it can trade on an exchange.
Okay. Would you say it's comparable to the blockchain behind cryptocurrency?
Not quite. Okay. So there's two different things there. The blockchain technology is essentially, it's in the sense of crypto is a ledger that keeps records.
Okay, radio.
Right. That's and we'll get to that conversation. We'll definitely we'll talk about when we start talking about crypto. We'll get to that conversation. The ETF instrument essentially gives retail investors access that institutions have had for ages, as I talked about, right? So if an institution wanted to go out and buy the US market, if the institution wanted to go out and own the names in China, if an institution wanted to go out and own all the technology companies like in the world, right? There are benchmarks that have been created that give certain exposures that allows them to go, okay, we'll buy all those names, 100 million, whatever that number is. Thanks for coming, done, right? But you and I won't have the ability to actually go and execute all those names in that trade. So
Okay.
what do we
I get
need?
it.
We need an instrument that fractionalizes that exposure so that we can maybe even with $20, right?
Mhm.
It's all based on the share price of the ETF.
Mhm.
So if the share price of the ETF is $20, right? I can go out and use my $20 and buy that exposure that gives me access to the 200 names on the ASX, or access to the technology sector, or access to the crypto sector. You know, whatever the underlying instrument is, the ETF basically wraps it,
Yep.
fractionalizes it,
Yep.
and there's a share price to it, and I can then use whatever dollars that I've sort of put away to invest. I can use that to go trade that exposure.
Okay. I'm slowly beginning to understand. It's going to be a slow
We'll
process,
get there.
but
We'll get it. But
okay.
that's the beauty, right? We're
Okay.
gonna have this
Yeah,
conversation. I think we're gonna have multiple conversations to get
I
us
think
there.
so. I think we've got to break it down. Okay, so let's skip ahead a bit. How do people invest in, ETFs? Like, where do you begin? Where do you go? Do you need to hire someone to help you do it, or can you do it by yourself? Or
Yes. So great question. So depending on who you are is the answer.
Mhm.
But how can you buy it? So if you have a financial advisor or a broker
Yeah.
or a financial professional that advises you on your
Can I
investments.
can I just cut in here? Sorry. Would you suggest people get a financial advisor, or do you think you can find enough info on YouTube, online, blogs, podcasts?
Yeah, look, so exactly. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's to each his own. It depends on sort of,
Okay.
some people may not have the means to have a financial advisor based on their net assets, right? And so they would have to do their own research. And again, there are multiple mediums on where they can get information. So if you're an individual that's doing that, then it's as simple as having a shares trading account, right? That could be within your bank account. Most banks in Australia will have a shares trading platform, right? And you can just set up your shares trading there to go do so. There are also other mediums that are in a place where you can go, and set up shares trading, right? So wherever there's shares trading, it could be today we have got the app here where there's certain platforms that you can go and see what's available to you. You can go out and trade shares, right? So whichever medium that you have the ability to trade shares,
Mhm.
right, you can use that medium to go and gain access to ETFs.
Okay. All right.
Because in essence, ETFs are shares. That's exactly what they are. I mean,
Mhm.
if we were in Australia, they'll probably be called what, shares? I mean, let's not confuse it. Let's leave it alone. let's stay,
I get
let's stay,
Yeah.
let's stay with exchange traded
Yeah.
funds.
Okay.
Let's stay with exchange traded funds.
Okay. The next question, we're going to go on to crypto. So what specifically are crypto exchange traded funds? Because I feel as though people don't even understand what crypto is. So could you
Yeah.
break down how the two combine into the one?
Yeah. So again, two
Mm.
different conversations. So let's just specifically talk about crypto,
Yeah.
or cryptocurrency or digital currency, whichever form you want to put. So in essence, digital currency is 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 the decentralization of our current, financial system. So what I mean by that, if you think about, how traditionally, how our accounting of money exists, right? It's centralized. It's controlled by government, through whether this the central banking system of that government, and then it's then passed through the banks and then passed on to you and I, right? So if I get what cryptocurrency or digital assets are is essentially trying to give the people control of their finances or their cash.
Okay.
Um, and the blockchain, all of this is possible because of the blockchain technology, right? Because the blockchain technology, the way it's designed is to record ledger, just basically record keeping of transactions, and each block has a code, and it allows you to do that. So, two of the stable coins or mature coins. Well, let's talk about the market cap. The market cap of the cryptocurrency market is around 2 trillion. Now, the two stable coins, or the leaders in that space at the moment, is Bitcoin, and then the other is Ethereum or Ether, right? And then there's a list of coins that just go down all the way down to probably 100 plus, right? That's available. Now, at the moment, if individuals wanted to trade any of these cryptocurrencies, they would have to go to an exchange platform, open an account, have a wallet, which is basically a secured code that allows them to change their fiat currency to go out and buy and sell the cryptos within that platform. In the current environment, that is not seen as a regulated platform because, again, it's decentralized, right? What ETFs will do is the same concept from the beginning of our conversation, is take the product and put it in a financial framework or financial product framework on a listed exchange. So, you'll have the ability, depending on your investment platform, you'll either be able to go to your broker and ask them to be able to trade the product, have all the bells and whistles of trading the shares, accounting, tax, all the things that's needed in the financial product for record keeping, right? Gotcha. That's what the ETF will bring to the cryptocurrency asset class. But again, two different things. Today investors can go and trade crypto through the exchanges that are available to them. But some of the concerns and risk will be, I forget my wallet or I forget my code, and then that's it. Like I don't have to figure out make sure I have the right safekeeping for that. Whereas within the ETF framework, right, it would be custodied in the traditional sense of investing and allow investors, both retail and professionals, to own the exposure in the same way that they would own, again, CBA or Afterpay or any of the other shares.
So it essentially simplifies the way that you trade.
You said it better for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Okay.